to another week of the Lollygaggers Dynasty Recap. I am your host, Zang, and I am joined by the wonderful Ace Garcia. How you doing, Ace?
Doing great, my good sir. Good to be back on the second to last regular season episode.
We are coming in close, and I do have to apologize. And you know what? I'm going to pull up Fantrax right now because I think my math was off. We just finished week number 20. I believe that there are 2 more weeks from now. Let's double check. Week 23. No. 20. Okay, yes. 21 is next week. That'll be episode 20. 22, the week after that, is our final regular season.
Oh, so there's 2 more regular seasons.
2 more regular seasons. I said that like 100 times last episode, so certainly no blame on you.
Got it.
And thank you. Somebody pointed that out to me. They were like, hey, I think there are actually 2 weeks after this one. And, of course, because I was looking at this week, counting 2 weeks after this one. So my math was a little bit off there. But, yeah, 2 weeks after this one, our third to last regular season episode. Things are getting closer and closer. Whenever we think people are maybe out or making their final push, it seems like they're working their way back in. So yeah. We finally kind of got our Goliath and David episode this week. Although the bunch at the top of the standings is sort of the title story there. We will get started with our matchup minute as we cover Hideki versus Al Martinet. Hideki came in second place while Al Martinet was in 9th last time they met up. Hideki did win the matchup versus Al Martinet. But Al Martinet started off really, really strong. 124 points led by Shea Langoliers, 11. Muncie over on the other side also had 11. Al Martinet held the lead on Tuesday with 46 points to 67 for Hideki. Catel's 13 over on his side was helpful in starting to close that gap just a little bit, but Wednesday was the day when Hideki would flip the script. A huge day with 3 batters and 2 pitchers recording standout performances. Will Smith with 12, Laureano with 13, and Cattell again with a 14-point there. Gosman had 22 and Gilbert 24. 5 notable players on Hideki's team there totaled 118 points for him as he took the lead, which he held through Thursday and through Friday with Sal Perez's 12 points. Nick Kurtz had 15 over on the other side for Al Martinet on that Friday where he scored 85 points. Casey Mize with 26 on Saturday was helpful for Hideki. We know he needed a good start from him as he held that lead, and he did hold it through the end on Sunday, scoring 45 points to 59 on Al Martinet's side. Despite winning that final day, it wasn't quite enough to close the gap. Laureano showing up again with 11 points, and Joe Adell with 16 for Hideki. He did end up winning this matchup with a pretty solid margin of 73 points. It was 490 to 417. So Hideki is now sitting at 13-7 with Al Martinet at 8-12.
Yeah, very, very good matchup here. Like you mentioned, this is like the week where we're kind of starting to see these matchups really, really start to play importance, and Hideki vying for that number 1 seed, took another step towards that with 2 weeks to go. I know Ramon Laureano isn't going to be his best batter this week, but we need to shout out him because he had a really great, consistent week.
Shout him out, yeah.
Just let me pull it up really quick here. He had, 39 points this week.
Yeah.
So just a great week from him. Bats really carried him this week. And, definitely good to see.
Yeah, 39 from like a 3rd or 4th outfielder type player.
Insane.
As a 4th or 5th year. Like, that's really, really solid. And, of course, the only reason he was not Hideki's best batter was that second baseman out in Arizona, Ketel Marte, with 49 points. Best batters and Hideki's best batter over there. Casey Mize on just 1 start with 26. Didn't have a terribly impressive week, but nice to see him bounce back a little bit. I know he's been a bit of a thorn in Hideki's side since he acquired him, so nice to see him on the list there. The ever-present Shea Langoliers for Al Martinet was his best batter with 28 points, and Will Warren with 45.
Got him.
Potent pitchers for the week, and Al Martinet's best pitcher. Somebody said it in the Discord, man, he lives and dies by those Athletics bats. And there are the weeks when we see him put up 600-700 points because the A's go off, and there are some weeks when he falls a little bit short. So that's definitely a story I think to keep an eye on, obviously, week to week. And boy, within, unless he trades them all away, which is possible because it's Al Martinet, we know he loves to deal. But in a couple of years when they move to Las Vegas, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of shapes the profile of his team a little bit. If that, changes things for the better, for worse, having obviously those like major league facilities, I think where, they appreciate the smaller dimensions, but also like they're playing in a minor league ballpark all the time, and maybe having a regular home and getting to live in Vegas. And obviously we don't know how that park will play.
Yeah.
Could all be nice for him. So that is a 3 years down the road situation, but I have been, thinking about that a little bit as we watch Al Martinet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just taking a look at Hideki's pitching staff, too, because it kind of caught my eye that his highest pitcher only put up 26 points this week. But if you really take a look at it, he had just, like, consistent points from all his pitchers, starters and relief pitchers. I mean, 22 from Gossman, 24 from Logan, 26, like you mentioned, from Mize. Ryan Nelson had 24, although both starts weren't great. It's still a net 24 points. Senga had 19. Framber had 16, 18, 19 from the relief pitchers. 24 and 20 from Luke Weaver and Edwin Diaz. I mean, just talk about a whole pitching staff coming together and getting the win.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are those weeks when we see somebody, you had a guy who nearly tossed a perfect game. Yeah,
yep.
That's going to get you on there. And there are weeks, just like you're talking about, where maybe nobody has over 30, but you got 7 or 8 of those guys, and clearly that, worked for Hideki. So I know he's had some pitching concerns as of late, and, traded away one of his sort of signature big start guys in Sale, but his pitching staff is doing it. And yeah, like you said, it has him in, a very, very comfortable position with, pretty solid performance there. So, moving on to our next matchup, we've Got Oki Sooner versus Serial Chillers. Oki came in 8th place, still vying for a playoff spot. A win this week could have put him in a position, I think, if he won out to, potentially get in maybe on some matchups or some point differentials. And Serial Chiller, of course, down in 12th place, enjoying his reign at the bottom of the pyramid and looking forward to enjoying some Munetaka Murakami home runs next year.
Yes. Makes it all the better.
That's, I think, how he should spend a lot of his time. Watch some NPB highlights of him and salivate over what he can do for you when you get him with that first pick. Serial Chillers opened up strong, though, 63-42. Andrew Abbott's 26 points. Of course, we'll get to talk about him later. Helped him on that first day. The big day, though, was on Tuesday when Chillers scored 122 points. I think this is the craziest batter day I've ever seen. 18 from Pasquantino, 19 from Jose Ramirez, and 21 from Francisco Alvarez. Crazy points for his batters there.
Jesus.
Not a shabby day over on the other side for Oki Sooner, who did score 74. Jazz with 12, Sal Frelick with 14, and Jose Barrios with 22. Unfortunately, there was a minus 13 from Spencer Strider in there, which brought down the total a little bit more than he would have hoped. Held through Wednesday did Serial Chiller, thanks to Burleson's 11, and Pasquantino again with 14. Trevor Rogers over on the other side had a solid 22 for Oki Sooner. Held through Thursday and Friday as well. Alvarez showed up again with 12. Serial Chillers held on Saturday, and of course, all the way through Sunday when Francisco Alvarez showed up once again with 11 points, and Andrew Abbott back with 35. He may be just 5-15, but Serial Chiller did go wire to wire on this win versus Oki Sooner. Like I said, he is now sitting at 5-15 with Oki Sooner at 8-12, and unfortunately for him, I do think formally eliminated from the playoffs now with just 2 weeks remaining. Even if he won out, that would have him ending at 10-12. There might be a little bit of, if other people, win out or lose out and he wins out, there might be some stuff there, but it does seem like this sort of informally, I should say, put the nail in the coffin for Oki Sooner over there. And hey, it has not been the season that I think he hoped for when, we started things off. But nice win for Serial Chiller, man. That's good to see for him, especially a wire-to-wire one like that. It was 431 to 402, 29 points separated them. That was actually our tightest differential this week. But, Monday to Sunday, Serial Chiller held it.
Hell yeah, I love to see that. Basement Dweller getting a win. Just goes to show you it's not rigged. These games do matter, and these wins can come at any time.
And, good for Serial Chillers, too, that although he did get a win, I don't think this will have any effect on his number one pick.
No, I'm pretty sure he could win out.
And it would, I might lose.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I'm pretty convinced he could win out, and it would not matter. I'm pretty sure he's locked into that one spot.
I'm pretty sure, because I have the matchup advantage against him. So, yeah, he could win out, and he's got it. So, enjoy Murakami. That'll be wonderful for you. Jazz had 38 points. Jazz Chisholm Jr. Over on Okie Sooner side. That was his best batter. And Trevor Rogers with 32 was his best pitcher. Francisco Alvarez surprisingly did not make the best batters list, but he did have 39 points. Really, really impressive from the catcher. And then Andrew Abbott with 61 was...
Got him.
Certainly one of our potent pitchers for the week. A really impressive waiver pickup, as Serial Chillers was mentioning.
Yeah, he went undrafted in the league, and I think if just looking through it, tied for best pitching performance of the week.
Yeah.
So definitely got to give it up to him for that. I think the other thing I wanted to mention as well is Francisco Alvarez did get injured after this, pretty great week of his sliding into second base. Jammed his right hand, so was ultimately pulled from the game, even though he finished the day 3 for 4 with 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and RBI. So more information on that. He's day-to-day currently, but definitely sucks to see. Wishing him a speedy recovery.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I know. Tough season for him. Up and down from the minors a little bit, but I do have to say, for fantasy owners, dynasty in particular, owners of Alvarez everywhere, I think this stretch has been nice. A nice little reminder of what he can be for them. And all things considered, if there's a season for him to get hurt, it's probably this one for Serial Chillers, and he can come back healthy next year and, hopefully help him in a little bit better of a season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Moving down to our third matchup, we did have Mike versus Inten. Mike
one.
Mike was in first place last week, and Inten down in 10th place. Mike did win there. Yeah. No, I was very excited for that one. Mike did win their last.
How long you been sitting on that one?
All week, man. As soon as I made the list up and I saw he was in 10th place, I've been excited to
hilarious.
Make that little pun. So, Mike started the week off strong. Brandon Lau had 11 for him, and Jose Quintana, who was passed around a little bit this week across his couple of starts, did have 27 points. Inten took the lead back from him on Tuesday, though, with a 98 performance to just 71 over on Mike's side. Nimmo had 13, Yelich had 15, and Dean Kremer with 31, really helped Inten on that day. 100-plus point performance on Wednesday gave Mike the lead back as Merrill Kelly scored 20, and in his return, this is real big for Mike, 33 from Hunter Green. That was, a big acquisition for him earlier in the year, who got hurt pretty soon after. Don't want to skip over 28 points from Jacob Marksey, the outfielder for Inten over there. Certainly don't want to miss. I think he's an outfielder. He plays for the Marlins. I know that. Mike held through Thursday as well, thanks to 26 from Matt Boyd, but on Friday with 168 points, Inten would take that lead back. Alejandro Kirk's 14, Yelich's 25, and 24 from both Gore and Giolito helped him do that, and Inten did hold through the weekend. 86 on Saturday and 98 on Sunday, 95 on Saturday and 42 on Sunday over on Mike's side. Dean Kremer with another 38 on Sunday helped Inten close out that win. This one was actually our largest differential of the week. 113 points separated the two of them. It was 638 to 525 for Inten over Mike. And really, really, really impressive week there for Inten to, kind of steal a win from Mike here. He is unfortunately probably out of the playoff picture, but never hurts to play a little bit of spoiler there. That's a good time for him. And
play spoiler did he? Because holy shit,
play spoiler he did, certainly. Mike's best batter on the week was Cal Raleigh with 32 points, and another Mariner, and George Kirby with 30 points was his potent pitcher. I'll get my buttons all warmed up because Inten had a clean sweep here. 51 points from Christian Yelich. Geraldo Perdomo with 45. There's another Inten had two of those guys. And then Dean Kremer with a very nice 69 points.
Got him.
One of our potent pitchers for the week. Wow. Yeah. Big day for a 10. I mean, I look at this and I think, 55 points is like a fine but like pretty regular day. So you figure he got, like, Friday was basically the difference here when he scored 168. So if you take, the 113 differential away, if he'd scored 55, that's a fine day. You see that from time to time. But yeah, that Friday basically ended up being the day when Inten won this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a complete domination on all fronts of it. Inten getting 300-plus points on both his pitching staff and his hitting staff. And this is, again, we've seen it so often this year, a case of the two highest scorers facing off. Unfortunately for this week, it really didn't matter for Mike, and nobody was losing to Inten this week. Just unfortunately, Mike would have kept that first place spot had he played literally anybody else. But them's just the way the cards tumble. I'm sure that's a saying somewhere. I completely botched that. But, it is what it is. This is a massive upset. We were kind of talking about it before the week for this matchup and spoiler alert for the upcoming matchup. Massive underdogs coming out on top. And, I mean, bottom line, when you have two guys and your best batters and the top pitcher of the week, it's going to be really tough for you to lose that matchup. So Inten, unfortunately, came alive just a little bit too late into the season. But I think it bodes well for what he is going to do next year.
Definitely. The big stat that stands out for me there is 300 plus from both batters and pitchers. I think batters tend to be a little bit more consistent where pitchers are a little bit more variable, and we have seen that in teams that are either batter heavy and they're kind of consistently getting the same points, and sometimes it's not always enough, versus the teams that are more pitcher heavy who sometimes are scoring 600-700 points, sometimes they're scoring 300-400 points. And, to kind of see that balance from Inten, I think, like you said, really bodes well for him next year, where maybe he's not having, those super huge explosions one way or the other, but it's balanced out. And I do think that indicates, we've probably got a pretty competitive team next year in over for Inten.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of high variability when it comes to teams with elite pitching staffs, we've got our fourth matchup of the week, which was Flaming Prius coming in 5th place versus Zang and Ace in 11th. Prius obviously has been over the course of the season really dominant with that incredible pitching staff led by those two aces at the top. Fortunately, post-trade deadline, things have not quite gone as he had hoped. Couple acquisitions have had tough stretches, most notably Max Fried, who's really, really struggled since he's come over to Prius's team. And, this was, I think, an important week for Prius, who unfortunately lost last week and dropped him kind of out of that set of teams that were tied for the top. He did start off strong with 87-46 over on my side. Caminero had 14 and Neto had 20 for him over on my side. Spencer Torkelson and Alex Bregman each scored 10 points. Prius held through Tuesday as well. Over on my side, though, I did close the gap a little bit with Bregman scoring 11 and Roman Anthony scoring 14. A couple of Red Sox helping me out. But Wednesday ended up being a big day for me as I scored 96 points. Yiner with 11 and Rasmussen with 30 as I took the lead away from Prius. Scoring just 39 on Thursday. I held it, though. Lindor's 12 points were very helpful there. Held it again on Friday thanks to the 116-point day I put up. Francisco Lindor's 19 points were very helpful there, and really nice to see on my end Sandy Alcantara putting up a 30-point performance that has been desperately needed this year. Held it again through Saturday, and through Sunday with Story scoring 12, Willier 11, Crochet 32. And then over on Prius' side, as I mentioned, Quintana passed around a little bit, did score 25 for him on Sunday as he won the day, but unfortunately not the matchup. 99 points separated the two of us at 497 to 398, as in a pretty significant upset, I did take the win over Flaming Prius. The Zangarang team is now sitting at 7-13 with Prius at 11-9.
Yeah, this is a really rough back-to-back weeks for Prius here. Thankfully for him, a little bit of a spoiler alert, somebody who he needed to lose also lost, so not as bad of a loss as it could have been. However, with the new intel that there's actually 2 weeks now remaining in the year, this playoff race is still anything but shut.
It is airtight, yeah.
It is insane. Yeah, airtight as far as the teams that are competing in it, but it is wide open, probably in terms of literally every seeding.
I guess airtight was a terrible way to describe that. It's a very close race, I guess is what I meant by airtight means it's locked up. That was totally the wrong phrase.
I tried to spin it, but you didn't give me much to work with.
Yeah, I didn't give much. Cards tumbled wrong there. You know?
Fair play.
This was kind of a funny week for me. As I was telling Ace before the week, I wasn't totally locked in. Unfortunately, my computer was out of commission for a few days this week. Thankfully, everything's okay. There was a bit of a water spill that had me worried it would be permanently out of commission. It is all good to go, but I was not
talking about airtight. Needed to keep that laptop airtight.
Is how you need. Yes, I need to keep the computer. I wasn't following as closely as I normally do. Obviously, I'm normally keeping them, and I kind of checked in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I ahead of Prius? What the heck is going on here? And then, of course, I was really closely following. Jesus Christ, oh my God, I'm ahead of Prius. And yeah, kind of a shocking win. I mean, yeah, Wednesday to Sunday, I held the lead. And, this is, I think, we have seen this league be very pitching dominant. And when you have good pitchers, you win a lot. And we have seen that obviously a ton with Flaming Prius. But there's also that variability factor. And this, unfortunately, I think is just a tough stretch for him where it has kind of fallen on the wrong side of the coin for him. It has been a couple tough weeks. I think he should be fine because obviously a staff with, Hunter Brown and Skeens and Scooble and Freed and all those guys, they're going to figure it out. But definitely a tough loss here. But as you mentioned, he is not, in dire straits because he got some fortunate losses over on the other side. So we'll get to preview his matchup next week. And, I won't lie, a little bit of fun playing some spoiler, even if, although it is tough. I'm like, man, these are my friends. I kind of feel bad about spoiling them, but,
there is no friends in fantasy.
Yeah, there are no friends in Dynasty.
I will, really, really quick, sorry, I will say,
no, go ahead.
The rare negative point performance from Paul Skeens throughout the week.
Is that right? I didn't catch that one.
Negative 0.02. What? I botched that. Negative 0.2 points. Put up 4 innings of work, took the loss, of course, given up 6 hits on 4 earned runs, 2 walks, also 2 homers, and only 4 Ks. Only played the 1 game, and it was against Milwaukee. Shocker.
Yeah.
They've been just absolutely tearing it up lately, although their winning streak did come to an end. But yeah, the rare. So again, like you mentioned with Flaming, his pitching staff will figure it out. It's just a matter of all the cards fell on the exact week he didn't need them to fall.
Exactly.
And, this is the result.
It was a tough one. Yeah. He did. Fortunately for him, he did have a pretty solid performance from his batter. Zach Neto put up 43 points on the week for a shortstop. That's fantastic. And was one of the best overall for the week. Ryan Pepio with 29 was his potent pitcher for the week. Over on my side, Francisco Lindor with 58 was number 1 bat. That is why you trade for a guy like this. That is why I was very excited to take that deal. And then Raisel Iglesias, with 33 points, the relief pitcher actually was my best pitcher. So not a terribly impressive pitching week for me, but Raisel, who was actually a recent waiver pickup when I got sick of Jordan Hicks blowing games for my real life team in the Red Sox and my dynasty team. Dropped him for Raisel, and he's been really solid for me. So that is nice to see there. Moving down to our 5th matchup for the week, we've got Big Peach versus JMC. This is one of 2 playoff teams going up against each other. Peach in 6th place with JMC in 3rd. Peach won their last matchup out, so JMC was looking to, kind of even it up in the event that Peach does even up records. Then it would come down to point differential. JMC, that was pretty important for him. Peach did start off the week strong, though. 33 points from Soriano, helped him score 88 in total to take the lead for over JMC, but on Tuesday, JMC came back with 97 points, 12 from Volpe and 34 from Rodon, and it would not slow down from there. 110 on Wednesday, Profar with 11, Ozuna with 14, and Schlittler with 21. 29 from Scherzer on Thursday helped him score those 41 points. Peach did have a really solid Friday, scoring 102 points on 12 from Schwarber and 23 from DeGrom. Wasn't quite enough to wrestle that lead back as JMC held it on Friday, and he did hold through the weekend. Solid duo of Yankees on Saturday with Judge scoring 12 and Rice 22, and then Royce Lewis with 12 points, helping him close out the week on Sunday and close out that streak. Tuesday to Sunday, he went in the lead and did hold it. It was 487 to 408, 79 points separating the two of them, with JMC now at 13-7, and Big Peach tied with Flaming Prius at 11-9.
Yeah, this was, like you said, our first big matchup with two playoff teams going into it. Heavy playoff seeding implications on the line here. JMC just continues to ride this hot hand that he's been on. What is it, like 4 or 5 weeks now he's won in a row?
So, yeah.
Completely skyrocketing up the standings. Shocker. He's in the top spot right now. So I think it's just, A, a huge resurgence that we've seen from him, and B, I think it also just goes to show how, like, kind of scary, sneaky this team has been. Because, and we should also do like a special, maybe like 20-minute show where we just kind of look at the first half schedules and look at back half schedules. Because if you were to look at his team midway through the season, you'd be like, okay, that's a pretty solid team. Like, they may be able to contend for a playoff spot. They'll be fighting for it at the end. Versus where he's at now, where he's like, you know, I wouldn't say firmly in first place, but he's in first place. Like, that just goes to show how much his team is just trending upward right now. And he's going to be scary come playoff time.
They are getting hot at the right time. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I believe I had JMC predicted in the finals, in our low predictions episode, and yeah, you're seeing why, man. Really, really nice spread of performances, great pitching from a lot of sources. Like getting 29 from Scherzer, I'm like, still, that's been such a great pickup for him. Really, really great batters. Obviously, he's got a bunch of Yankees, so kind of as they go, he goes, and they had a solid week there. But yeah, just really, really solid from JMC, and it does feel like he is always kind of putting up those high 400, low 500 point, performances here. And yeah, he's going to be dangerous come playoff time for sure. On Big Peach's side, Andrew Vaughn with 30 points was his best batter. He's obviously been phenomenal since coming over to Milwaukee. That was a great pickup by Peach, who kind of predicted that, getting out of Chicago would be good for Vaughn.
Huh, shocker.
I know. Who would have thought?
You go from one of the worst teams in the league to quite literally the best team in the league. I think that would help a lot of guys.
Luis Robert is going to be like the fastest claim the second he gets traded from the White Sox. Jose Soriano, too, with 40 points was
got him.
One of our potent pitchers and Big Peach's potent pitcher, like I said, with 40 points there. Michael Harris, second week in a row as JMC's best batter with 39 points, and a nice solid 34 from Carlos Rodon on just that one start was his best pitcher. So just goes to show sometimes you get the best pitcher or batter for the week and you don't win, and sometimes you have neither, but you pull it out. And I think, again, kind of like I was saying, that really speaks to the balance of JMC's team. This is not one guy, hauling his ass to victories. It's a really nicely balanced lineup and pitching staff that is, getting him, like you said, a streak of wins here.
Absolutely. It's going to be definitely some great teams we're going to see in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And finally, we will move down to our last matchup of the week. Bose in 4th place versus Ace in 7th. Bose did win their last matchup that they have by just 4 points, so it was a real tight victory against Ace. This was obviously a very important one for Ace, who was coming in 10-9, looking to, kind of sneak into that tier with what would have been now Peach and Flaming Prius. If he had won, it would have been 11-9, so, kind of tied for those spots and try and get some on, matchups and point differentials and all that. But Bo's obviously jockeying for that top spot. This was a pretty important week for him, too. Bose did open up with 39 points, just 4 over on Ace's side. 59 for Bose on Tuesday, thanks to 34 from Singer, and 34 over on the other side as well from Freddie Peralta. Bose held on Wednesday, 13 points from Shohei and 32 from 5-minute Red Sox Joe Ryan. Thursday was a pretty slow day, but Friday, Bo's got 28 points from Clayton Kershaw, who's been a kind of great older guy pickup for him.
Yeah, man. Unk's still getting it done.
Unk still got it.
Yep.
Hurston Waldrop put up 34 for Ace over on the other side. That trade has been great for him.
Yeah.
Still wasn't enough to take the lead on Saturday when Augustin Ramirez and Kerry Carpenter put up 10 each, with Snell putting up 27. And Bose did complete the wire-to-wire win with a 120-point performance on Sunday to 87 from Ace. Buxton and Seager each had 11. Jordan Westbrook had 18, and Logan Webb had 39. Evaldi with 30 over on the other side just wasn't quite enough for Ace. A 48-point differential separated the two of them, but this was actually really tight. I believe just 5 or 10 points separated them coming into Sunday, so it really was that big 120-point performance that kind of ended up being the difference between Bose and Ace. Bose is now 13-7 in terms of record, tied for first place, with Ace sitting at 510-10, and that margin for sneaking into the playoffs is getting ever thinner for him.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Was a rough week, especially with the two guys I needed to. Rough week for me, especially with two guys that I needed to lose badly. They did lose. They were huge upsets to, obviously, it was Flaming and
Big Peach.
Big Peach, losing to you and to Inten.
JMC.
Or excuse me, to JMC's, sorry. And I just was not able to get it done. Pitching staff really came up short. Newly acquired Yamamoto. This was a rough week for me because I live and died by Dodgers this week. Yamamoto gave me a solid negative 1.9 for the week, and then I went against Clayton Kershaw, who, like you said, put up 28, and obviously Shohei. We'll get to him, who was his best batter of the week, putting up 38 total points, 27 of those coming from the bat, but. I mean, it was just, and obviously Freddie, did what he could, only putting up 12, so kind of an underwhelming week for him. He's been kind of just like, for as hot of a start he had to the season, he's been really, really, average, really, really not Freddie-like, and the Dodgers as a whole have been very just down. The vibes do not feel at all like they were last year. It is definitely, not looking great. I know we had a sweep against the Padres, and that's awesome, but, there's still so many things that with this team that need to be fixed. But I digress. Moving away from that, Mizorowski giving me negative 8.9 this week. Joe Boyle giving me, -3. So just some starters that I couldn't get, I couldn't get done. I did get outstarted 11 starts to 9, so obviously got outplayed by Bose in the waiver wire as well. So just some all-around misfortunes from me in a week that I desperately needed to get this win to keep in playoffs.
Yeah, what I will say about the Mizorowski thing, it was actually on your bench, those -8 points. So it may have been an accidental benching, but it worked out in your favor. So yeah, I did catch that. No, he hopefully will bounce back in his next start. Obviously, he has had a phenomenal little short season that he's had. So hopefully next week.
I totally meant to bench him.
Yeah.
What you're talking about?
Fantasy genius Ace Garcia.
Did I bench Pivetta too?
We will get down to an unfortunate benching of another starter at the end of the wasted waiver segment. We'll get down to that in just a little bit. But yeah, tough loss for you, especially sort of as you said, the teams you needed to lose did lose. Of course, you also lost. But things are not over. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the standings? Then we can kind of talk about some playoff scenarios and how things might work out after that.
Yes, absolutely. So, with the standings, as I mentioned, JMC not really skyrocketing. He was in third last week. But in terms of overall positional rankings from the whole season, JMC skyrocketing to the top spot, 13-7. He is tied record-wise with 3 other teams at 13-7, but he is firmly in first place due to just head-to-heads and points. Hideki right behind him, like I mentioned, 13-7 as well, staying firmly in second place, was there last week, staying there today, so very consistent from him. Bose going up a spot, moving to third, and Mike with the heaviest drop of the week, falling 3 spots still tied for first in terms of record, but like I mentioned, with all the tiebreakers, he is all the way down to fourth. Flaming Prius and Peach rounding out the playoff line, both at 11-9. It also rounds out the line of teams above 500, because myself is right below them at 10-10, exactly at 500. And I am currently the line of teams still in contention to make a playoff spot. In 10, sitting at 8-12. Starting off the teams with Al Martinet and Oki Sooner, who are now officially eliminated. They are all 8-12. And then Zang, right below them at 7-13. And Serial Chiller, our resident basement dweller, although not taking a loss this week, 5-15. So making moves there for him.
Motion. He's got motion.
Yes, he's got motion.
So just in terms of looking at kind of playoff scenarios here, 2 weeks to go, as we've said. The 8-12 team, so in 10, Al Martinet and Oki Sooner, I think technically, no, they are officially eliminated, because even if Peach and Prius were to lose out, they would still be a game behind those two. So it all comes down to Ace, Prius, Peach, Mike, Bose, Hideki, and JMC as our potential teams. Like you said, JMC, Hideki, Bose, and Mike are all tied at the top there with 13-7. Prius and Peach are a full 2 games behind them. So that is a little bit tricky, where that top 4 is probably locked in as the top 4.
Right.
Again, they could drop out. I would be surprised if any of those teams lose out.
Yeah.
And that would require either Prius or Peach winning out. So they could sneak into that top 4. But really where I'm looking is Ace, Peach, and Prius. Those are kind of our 3 teams. A win from Ace next week and a loss from either one of them would have them tied for record. Meaning, it comes down to head-to-heads, and of course we could look at those at the time they come around.
Yes.
Wins are at a premium next week for Prius, Peach, and Ace. And then, of course, Mike, Bose, Hideki, and JMC are all kind of looking to, continue to win out, because, and I want to double-check before I say anything, I really want to make sure this is correct, but I believe there is a bye in the first week. And, of course, now Fantrax is giving me all the trouble in the world. Because,
that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Let's see. I'm looking for playoffs. Oh, my God. There's so much wonderful about...
And so much
there's
not.
so much information, sometimes to the detriment of, how things go. Week 24, I believe, would be our best. Oh, but then, of course, we can't see it. Okay. I'm going to trust my memory that there is a bye in that first round. I believe the top 2 spots get a bye. So that's pretty important.
Top 2 get a bye?
If my math is correct. I believe those top 2 do.
Yeah, it would have to be top 2. If it's 6 teams in the playoffs, it would have to be top 2 get a bye, because if it's 1, there'd be somebody else who isn't playing anybody.
Exactly, yeah. So I'll of course, I'm sure I'll be able to find it right after we finish recording, but I don't want you all to have to sit around listening to me click around on my computer, so I won't put you through that. But yeah, so those top spots are obviously pretty important. I will say, if I figure out it's not a buy, I'll text it like in all caps to the Discord. So, we don't have another Zang misinformation campaign going for another week. But yeah, top spots obviously important. So for the JMC, Hideki, Bose, Mike segment there, they're obviously trying to win. A win from any of them and a loss from others put them into that, top 2 or top 3 spots. And for Prius, Peach, and Ace staying in the playoff picture. Prius and Peach kind of need a win to formally stay in, and Ace definitely needs a win next week to sort of set himself up to potentially get in that last week. So very exciting playoff scenarios next week. And
it's hot.
It is hot. As we come in next week, there will be I'll dive quite a bit into head-to-head. So,
yes.
when we get to it, we can kind of give you that, like, if this person wins, this is,
we will have situations and what-ifs in next
it'll
week's
be a whole Sports Center type situation that we'll have going for you. We did have some rather unfortunate bench blunders this week. Ace, do you want to start us off with our bats?
Yes, so starting off with the bats, the number 3 batter, Adrian Del Castillo, putting up 12 points on Saturday for Prius. One of those, like I mentioned, don't think it would have mattered. Prius lost by well over 100, just about 100, so I think he was set regardless. Alex Bohm, putting up Bohm or bust, putting up 13 points for Oki on Sunday. For Oki, this one, again, wasn't that big of a deal, right? Am I looking at this correctly?
Yes. Pretty large loss for him.
Yeah, pretty large. Yeah, not a horrible loss. He only lost by about 29.
That's right. That was a 29 one.
Yep, but still 13. A couple of other moves there needed to be made, so not all horrible things considered. And the biggest bench blunder for batters this week was Marcus Semien, putting up 16 points on Sunday for Peach. Also, this one wouldn't have mattered. Peach lost by about 70, by about 80, so not the end of the world on that front.
Over to the arms, we had Adrian Hauser, who put up 23 points on Saturday. He was sat on Oki's bench, listed as a relief pitcher. Looks like he maybe got a bulk appearance there, so unfortunate for Oki to lose out on those points. Between him and Bohm, that would have been close to enough to make up the differential, so a couple of tough benchings there. For Big Peach, Jason Alexander with 25 points also on Saturday was sat on his bench, and then the real tough one here, Pavetta with a 32-point day on Wednesday was left on the bench for Ace. I would imagine not a tactical decision there, although if it is any consolation, those 32 points would not have made a difference in the matchup alone. So, that's where we are. Let's talk about our wasted waivers a little bit. Who are some batters that had nice performances this week that people could look to if they need a pickup?
Yeah, looking over at Baltimore, Dylan Carlson, who I believe he's been on wasted waivers before. Could totally be wrong about that, but putting out 29 points this week. I don't know who Baltimore played this week, which ballpark they were in. This very well could be a case of, smaller dimensions benefiting.
They played Houston for one of their matchups. I don't know about the other.
Okay. That could have potentially helped. But either way, we'll have to, I'll get back to you on that. Colby Thomas from the Athletics putting up 33 points, the left and right fielder. The A's were at home this week, for one of their series this week, so definitely contributes to that one a little bit. And Paul DeJong, shout out Paul DeJong, man. Third base shortstop putting up 36.5 points this week for Washington. Really solid for him if you're looking for a nice infielder. We are at the point now where you're just looking to get guys, when you have people on the bench or out of the lineups, you're just looking to get guys in there to score something for you. Hopefully it's not negatives. So Paul DeJong could potentially be a nice piece for somebody.
Absolutely. It's a good thing for me that I wasn't playing Dynasty Baseball in like 2019-ish, because I would have traded basically the world for Dylan Carlson. He was just one of those prospects where I was so sure he was going to be a star.
Yeah.
Clearly, it has not turned into that.
Well, he's a star on our wasted waivers.
He's a star on our wasted waivers, exactly. I'm finally getting vindication.
He's getting his shine,
belief. Yeah. Only 3 teams later for him to get there. Over on the arm side, we had a bit of a relief pitcher heavy set for wasted waivers. Jimmy Herget over in Anaheim had 40.5 points. He's a relief pitcher. Brandon Young with that 44.6 point performance at Houston. That was our near perfect game. I think it made it into the 8th. That was obviously a very impressive performance for him. And then also with 44.6, Victor Vodnik, another relief pitcher for the Rockies. Had a really solid week. I don't know how much I'd trust a Rockies relief pitcher on the regular, but hey, he's shown up a couple times. So if you really need someone, you could do worse. We don't have any transactions to cover because trade deadline's passed. So, Ace, why don't you tell us about next week's notes, and we can hear a little bit about our matchups.
Yeah, going into next week's notes, all of these teams last met in Week 10, so we'll dive right into the first matchup here. Al Martinet taking on Zang. Al Martinet currently in 9th place, Zang in 11th, so no playoff implications in this matchup here. This is just purely for draft pick positioning. Al Martinet did beat Zang the last time they matched up, so Zang looking to potentially even up the series, or tie up the series, the season series between these two teams. Although I think he's pretty locked into that 11th spot. Don't know if he can move up or down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this could be just, friendly matches looking for guys to pop off.
It's still fun to win,
It is still fun to win. Absolutely. I will skip over this next matchup because this is probably one of the bigger ones coming up this week. Potentially might be the biggest, depending on how you look at things. But for this next one, we have Inten versus Oki. Inten in 8th, Oki at 10th. Once again, matchup of two teams that are currently both out of playoff seeds and eliminated from playoff contention, so just a battle of draft pick positioning. These two teams can move up or down, so this is actually going to be a really big matchup. I think this will be the difference between picking 3rd and picking 5th or 6th, something like that. So definitely a big matchup here in terms of draft picks. Moving on to this big matchup here with two playoff titans. Mike taking on Big Peach. Peach in that 6th spot, clinging on to that final playoff spot only by a game, of course, having me right behind him. So he is looking for a big match here. Mike looking to rebound after the big fall from 1st all the way down to 4th with this last week's series of games and the way they unfolded. So he's definitely looking. And like we mentioned, Mike would have beat every other team this week. He just happened to go up against the one team that popped off. When you're putting up 600 plus, you really can't do much but tip your hat. So I think Mike, all things considered, although it is a big fall standings wise, I don't think he's too worried about his team, and he really shouldn't be. It's a great team. Moving on to the next matchup, we have Serial taking on Bose. Serial, like we mentioned, of course, our resident basement dweller at 12th. Bose coming off a huge win last week against myself, putting himself in that 3rd place position. This is obviously a big matchup for Bose, trying to vie for, like we mentioned, there may be a 1 seed, there may be a bye week for the 1 and 2 seeds. So
I can confirm, I just found it. There is a bye for 1 and 2.
Perfect. So Bose definitely looking to try to get into that bye week position. He's only 1 place out of it. Same record. So he's just looking to keep winning and hoping one of the top 2 teams in JMC or Hideki lose. And good enough for him, this week one of them has to lose because JMC and Hideki are taking on each other. This is the heavyweight matchup of the week. 1st place and 2nd place going head-to-head. Same records at 13 and 7. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you play Dynasty, is for matchups just like this. We're 2 weeks out of the playoff positions, and this is going to be an insane game. We are hyping it all up, trying to give it the podcast love that it deserves, because last time we did this, it absolutely lived up to expectations. So we're really hoping that this one does as well. This is by far going to be the biggest matchup, and I did save this one for last because as far as, JMC versus Hideki being the biggest matchup with teams and standings wise, this may be the biggest matchup in terms of who's going to make the playoffs wise, because it is myself taking on Flaming Prius. Flaming is currently one of the players I am trying to chase right now. It is between him and Peach. They are both in that 5th and 6th positions. However, Flaming has definitely scored a lot more points than Peach has, so he currently holds that 5th spot. So yeah, this is essentially do or die for me. If I lose this week, I'm out. I think if Peach loses and I lose, there might still potentially be with tiebreakers or things like that, but I think for all intents and purposes, if I lose this week, I am going to be out of it. This needs to be the week that I make it. This could also, like I mentioned, because I am the only team not currently in the playoffs that still has a chance to make the playoffs. If I do lose this week, we may see the playoff teams locked in, not so much standings or seedings, but we will see the teams themselves locked in. So going to be a big week for sure. A lot of exciting matchups, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when I put these lists together, I always kind of try and put the quote-unquote marquee matchup as the last one, and then I just work backwards in order there to sort of do them 1 through 6.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to decide. I was like, all right, do we want the who makes the playoffs? And I have to say, I had a hard time saying no to the 1 and 2 seeds
that's
going up against each other. A really interesting note there for me is JMC does have the tiebreaker over Hideki.
Ooh.
He has the first win. So if he wins this week, he is essentially locked into one of those first 2 spots, which we can confirm does give him a bye week. That feels pretty huge. And then, of course, man, it doesn't get much better than Ace and Prius going up against each other. And, Prius basically playing to lock his spot in, and Ace basically playing to give himself a chance to get in.
Yes.
I cannot wait to recap those two. Keeping a close eye on them throughout the week, and I think you will be able to tell how it goes depending on how Ace responds to Ace, how you doing, my friend, at the start of next week's episode.
Yes, very much so. This is going to be this is a huge match for me, especially because last time we faced off, Prius absolutely beat me into the ground. We obviously know about his Skeens and Scooble kind of 1-2 punch there. However, it was just his entire pitching staff that week that decided to just, I don't know, smoke crack, snort cocaine, I don't know what it was, but his entire goddamn pitching staff was on one. Hunter Brown put up 61, Clay Holmes put up 44, Lodolo put up 25, Pepio put up 32, May put up 20, Anderson put up 20, and he had Skeens and Scooble putting up their respective 36 and 37. So it was just... Oh, and he also got 30 points from a relief pitcher in Will Vest, who had 4 appearances with 4 saves. So that just goes to show you, it was a really rough week for me. Pitching staff, I also outscored him for hitters-wise in terms of points. It didn't matter when your pitching staff is putting up damn near 400 by itself.
Yep.
So it is what it is, but, you know, it can change from week to week. Like we mentioned, Prius with back-to-back weeks now taking losses. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting. And now, officially, I will say, next week we'll be back to recap our penultimate week and give a preview of the final week of the regular season before these playoff matchups finally get started. So I'm looking forward to, recapping it with you all. And Ace, best of luck.
Oh, thank you, my good sir. Best of luck to you as well.
Have a good one, y'all.
You know what that makes you, Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.